Hello and welcome to the BCRC show. We are live in downtown Prince George at Hub Space in the vault. Can't wait to get started with today's show. But first, we just want to thank all the first responders and essential workers and frontline workers who are currently helping us battle the terrible COVID-19 virus. Luna, if you're still awake, this is to my daughter. Whoop whoop. She wants me to say that from now on. So there you go, Luna. Proud to announce Jody Tindill, the president of Northern BC Canadian Home Builders Association. How's it going, Jody?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm very excited about this. It's lots of fun. Can't wait to get started. So let's just jump into it right away, Jody. Can you can you please explain to me what the CHBA is? I'm kind of a little bit unfamiliar, and I'm sure some of our people are as well.
Yep. Let's start by deconstructing that acronym. How about that?
Yep.
Okay. They would really like us to say it all full, but we don't. It's the Canadian Home Builders Association of Northern BC. So we're the local association of the national association. There's also a provincial body that in the middle of all that. So we're national, provincial, and local associations. Our members are members of all the associations. So they pay us the dues directly, and we distribute them to the other levels of the organization. So that's kind of the name part of it. We're a member-driven organization. Our members are builders, developers, sub-trades, suppliers. We're talking like big suppliers and utilities, hydro, Fortis, all those guys are players in our association and at the table with us. Our main focuses are advocacy and working with governments at all levels to make sure that the needs of our members are met. And our focus right now, primarily at all levels of the association, is housing affordability.
All right. So what's kind of your role with the group? Like, what does the president of Northern BC kind of do?
Yeah, I'm the president of the local. I basically chair the meetings, so I have to be there every month. So I'm the chair of the board. I sit on several committees for the board. Right now, I'm chair of the Government Relations Committee, which is my favorite committee so far that I've been on. I've been chair of other committees like our Education Committee and Marketing Committee provincially and a few other things, but the Local Government Relations Committee has been my favorite. We actually just started that a few years ago. When I first became president for my first term, it was a major goal of mine to make sure that we had good relations with the local government. And so we got that committee up and running, and it's been tremendous. We have an amazing relationship with the city of Prince George, the regional district as well. And we meet monthly with the building departments there. And it's been a really positive improvement to what was a lack of communication a few years ago.
Well, that's awesome. So I'm going to take a quick moment here and just plug all of our social media accounts. So make sure you guys hit us up on Instagram. That is at the BCRC on Instagram. Follow us on LinkedIn. Go type in BC Resources Coalition on LinkedIn. Also on YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel, so make sure you guys follow that as well or subscribe to that. We have Twitter as well, so hit us up on Twitter, and the at Twitter is BC_resources. So obviously with your guys' group in the BCRC, like there's a lot, kind of feels a lot of similarities with like committees and subcommittees and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, you know, like I kind of roped into being the media lead because I was the youngest guy in the room and nobody there knew what Facebook was, and they're like, oh, we're gonna do social media. I'm like, yeah, you kind of have to, I think. So I voluntold. Yeah, El Presidente was like, hey, you're young, you do it. And it worked out well for everyone. So can you give me some stats on home building in Prince George? I see new houses going everywhere all the time. What are some of these stats here for Prince George?
If you take a look at the average build rate for Prince George for single family residential, that's kind of a key indicator for us. I think the 10-year average is about 110 homes in Prince George. But that doesn't include the regional areas, which a lot of people call themselves Prince George residents, obviously, but they may live in the regional districts around us. Yeah. So it's not a very, it doesn't sound like a lot, actually, 110 houses a year. It's been more. So last year, I think the total was 100 and, oh gosh, somebody's going to kill me for getting this wrong, but I want to say last year we did say 150 houses.
Yeah.
This year we're trending much lower, unfortunately, and we'll see how the year plays out. There's a variety of reasons, I suspect, but to the end of May this year, we were only at 29 versus the year before we were at 56 this time, like at the end of May. But what the trends show though was that the renovation permits have doubled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we went from like 22 to 44 with renovation permits. Those are we only need a permit if we have to do something structural or something like that. There's another one, us building secondary suites. That's been on the rise for the last 4 years or so. Getting people getting into legal basement suites has been a huge trend upward. Also, Prince George, it shouldn't be surprising, but garages,
Oh, yeah.
shops, a big deal. Everybody wants one.
Well,
So.
I lived in Kamloops for 11 years, and the number one thing that I seen added to homes was little garages for all the golf carts. So that was
no, here it's more the quads and the snowmobiles and the fun cars.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. All the toys.
Yeah, the
All the toys, as everybody likes to say. I don't have any toys, so I mean, I miss golf. I do.
Yeah.
So, but I hope to get to Aberdeen here pretty soon.
No, here we like to get a little muddy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, one thing I noticed when I moved up here to Prince George is there's a lot of there. I know you've said the stats here, but there seems to be a lot of new houses being built. There seems to be new developments popping up, and I remember in Kamloops when I lived there. When I first moved there, Aberdeen, if people from Kamloops are watching this, like Aberdeen, Bachelor Heights, they were kind of, all in development.
Yeah.
And it looked like they were about to go, and it took a little while to get there, but I really see Prince George trending that way. Do you think that's an indicator of things to come?
Yeah, I think Prince George has been on the cusp of a growth spurt, if you will, for a long time. I've lived here my entire life. And so we've been waiting for a long time for that to happen. I was in the window and door industry previously, and, we went through a couple of recessions and it just never kind of happened. And then oil and gas took off in Alberta and kind of screwed us. So
took everyone from the city.
I think there was a drop of 10,000 people 15 years ago when that happened, and we really haven't gotten back to the numbers we were at before that happened. And you can't believe all the stats because a lot of them are just projections, so we won't really know for a bit. But I know for myself and our business and my other businesses that there's growth that's happening. People are moving back to Prince George, maybe if they've been gone. People are retiring in Prince George from the smaller surrounding community. You mentioned Kamloops. Not everybody wants to move to Kamloops anymore, or Kelowna, where it's a little busier. Maybe they want to retire in something just a little bit bigger, maybe like, if they had their career in Terrace. Prince George is a really nice, comfortable place to retire. So, my company, we've built several homes for folks moving here to retire from all over. And that was really an interesting shift, I think. So you're seeing that growth, as well as a lot of young families moving back to Prince George and expanding their families here. So that's exciting. That's a big shift.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, when I was in Kamloops, part of the reason why we moved up here, we're a young family. We only had one daughter when we moved up here. Now we have two, but you gotta get through the winter. So you move up here, and the number one thing you notice is the house prices are kind of they weren't as cheap as I was expecting. To be fair, I think that's a little bit of a myth.
It is a myth
because in Kamloops, if you look at a $700,000 house in Kamloops, people in Prince George or down in Kamloops will say, "Oh, well, that's like 500 in Prince George." I'm like, no, no, I don't think that's true.
Kamloops were a lot more comparable too. Definitely, I think the population size is similar. Industry is obviously different. Climate, I don't know if it's similar, but I think it's, from what I hear, it could be a little similar. Prince George is still slightly cheaper, yes. So, historically, traditionally, and still to this day, we are one of the most economical places to live for a mid-size community in BC. So, if you want to live in a big urban center, you're going to pay a premium for that, obviously. And that's just been...
You pay for the sun.
Yeah, I think that's just the way it's been for hundreds of years. I don't think this is new. So the problem with Prince George is, we brag about how cheap our housing is. Well, now that the costs are going up all the time. I'm probably famous now to my clients for saying it's not going to get any cheaper. And by the way, you're not getting it any younger.
Yeah.
So dive in or don't. But we have a lot of people retiring, and they lived in the same house since 1973. And that, yes, their house is probably quadrupled in price, but now they can't retire into something newer because it's all relative.
Yeah, and I think people, the younger families are going to come back here once there's more work here.
Yes.
Honestly, and once, if the projects like the West Coast Oilfields project and BC Hemp, kind of start taking off, I think you're going to see a boom in Prince George, and I really think you're going to see a lot of younger families like my family move
We
up
already
here.
are seeing that. Yeah. A lot of companies are moving people from elsewhere to here. It's attractive here because they can buy. We just sold a young couple a house. They're both have great jobs. Young family. They didn't stretch their budget too far. They were able to buy some toys. Sometimes they'll buy a house and a cabin and a couple toys. We actually last year, a couple years ago, we built a home for a couple that moved here from Abbotsford. They sold their house. They paid cash for their brand new one. Now they're building a shop.
Yeah,
They're in their 40s and are mortgage free. They're just loving it.
yeah, it would have been nice to invest in some real estate down in
Yeah.
that area a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So how is the building industry regulated?
Um, in the last 20 years, that has kind of evolved. But basically, right now, to build a house as a builder, um, and a career, you need to be licensed. So that requires some experience, some courses. Um, there's a few hoops to jump through to become a licensed builder. Then you also have to get a warranty provider to say yes that they'll back you as their warranty provider. So we need to provide 10-year new home warranties to all of our clients, and we're responsible for those homes for 10 years from the time we build them. People can still build their own homes. People think that they can't, but they can. They just have to now pass a test, basically, to say that they can manage a project. These are $500,000 plus projects. It's a big deal. And, you can quickly get in trouble with your bank, run out of money, not pay your trades. It's a huge liability for the financial institutions as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we've actually seen where financial institutions will not provide a mortgage to somebody unless they're hiring a builder.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions for Jody Tindill, the president of Canada Home Builders Association of Northern British Columbia, please just leave them in the comment section below, and we will get to them as they come. Another big topic here in Prince George of late has been the climate action policy that's been put into place. What's kind of on the horizon for new homes here in Prince George with that policy?
Yeah, that's a hot topic across all of our association. I just was at a provincial meeting this week where there was 30 of us from around the province getting together. A big topic is what's coming for the building code. So the end game basically is what's called net zero or net zero ready. So the province of BC is kind of trying to lead the charge on this nationally. They want to have new homes in BC to be built to a standard called net zero ready by 2032. So in 12 years, in their perfect world, a brand new house will be ready to produce as much energy on site as it's consuming. To get there, unfortunately, is an expensive technical road that we're not quite ready for. So some parts of the provinces are more ready than we are. So down in Victoria, for example, one of my colleagues, they've been building high efficiency, high performance homes for a long time. They do a very good job of it. They figure that they're going to be at that net zero ready standard as a base house for them in 2 years, and with no additional cost to their clients. So he's in Victoria and on Vancouver Island. So I explained to him in our meeting, I'm like, that's amazing for you guys. However, up here last winter, it was -40.
Yep.
And to heat our homes with hydro, which is basically what net zero means, you will not have gas hooked up to your home. It was -40. It's extremely expensive. So until technology gets to the point where solar, which is also called photovoltaic or PV, is way more efficient and way less costly, and the equipment that we're using to heat our homes is way more efficient and way less costly, it's just not feasible for us here and further north to get there in an economical way. One interesting thing, we're trying to get a meeting with BC Hydro. Two of my colleagues building in the region in Matterhoof and Quesnel area, they'd been working with clients who really want net zero homes now. And to get there, they needed to get 400 amp service from BC Hydro. So, so your typical home has 120 amp service.
Yeah.
We are often upgrading people to 200 amp service because even in today's standards, 120 amp, you can't have a hot tub and your plugs are dying all over the house. For them to upgrade to 400 amp service was, one of them said it was a $25,000 bill.
Yeah, I would believe that.
So,
yeah.
oh, you're an electrician. There you go. You understand.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was a massive undertaking. And so the clients just said, oh, forget it. Like, I'd rather spend that money or not on other things. So they did the best that they could. They built the best quality, best insulation that they could afford. What was actually killing it, I think, was the electric car plugs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That pushed them over, which was important to them. So they kept that in and ended up making it work with 200 amp service, gas heat.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We can't turn the gas off in Northern BC for some time.
Not
if you want to spend $100,000 on solar panels, ooh,
yeah. But the whole thing is you can't do net zero until you're completely ready for the whole province to do it, because you have upstream, you have downstream, and everything else.
Well, keep in mind that BC Hydro can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's impossible for them to meet the capacity requirements. And so that's kind of the work that our association at the provincial, national, and local level work on tirelessly, because it's great for policymakers to say, oh, here's our great vision and you guys just have to figure it out, and then go back and go, guys, it's not going to necessarily work. So what they're talking about at some of our technical research committees, nationally mostly, is how do we regionalize this so it makes sense. So the Lower Mainland obviously can achieve this much easier, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to go to 20-inch thick walls like we will and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be, pushing to have large urban centers, which are really the ones causing most of the greenhouse gas emissions, obviously, because they're 85 or 90% of the population, to get working on them and hopefully leave us up here. Give us a little more time. We'll get there. I have absolutely no doubt in my lifetime that our homes will be net zero. That's going to happen. It's just the cost.
It's going to take time. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
Again, if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below. Also, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn. Get a membership. We need some more membership here. I know the best looking guy, Ryan Yorkston, is always looking to have more members sign up. So please visit the website, www.thebcrc.ca. Purchase a casual or a full, or if you have a company, a corporate membership. The corporate memberships, I believe for everyone that has signed up for, they've all been very, very happy. They see a mass amount of people and they do very, very well. I can speak for my own company. It is the best $3,000 of advertisement we have purchased, because it has been outstanding what it's done for us as a company. Again, so just visit www.thebcrc.ca. Also, buy some on the shop. Let's go. I want to see some BCRC sweaters, t-shirts, hats out there. I'll convince El Presidente maybe to get some more stickers here available, and we'll make sure we get all those out there. So Jody, with all these, with the West Coast Oilfields job coming, with BC Hemp coming, if the boom happens, are we ready? Are our sub trades ready here in Prince George for this?
I would say if it happened tomorrow, no, we're not. We got a kind of a hint of it in 2017. In 2017, things were going in that trajectory. Like, we were like, oh my goodness, things are just feeling like they're going to go crazy. We were all getting lots of phone calls and everybody was hopping. And, that was the first year, and we've been in business in our building homes since 2010. But that was the first year we had to wait for trades. We've never had to wait for a trade. Everybody was, was ticking along just in a great pace. That was the first year, and we had projects delayed. Trade after trade was people were moving from company to company, and it was just crazy. It felt really chaotic. And I know a lot of the builders were so excited because we can finally level our businesses up. We've been waiting for this for forever, and we can finally, get there. And and it died off because for a variety of reasons. The economy, the cost of housing went insane, mortgage rules changed, and all of a sudden we got a bit of a reprieve. Thankfully, I think, because yes, we were having trade issues then. It's been fine since. So, what I do think is a positive for us, maybe not so good for Alberta, is that the oil and gas sector is shifting. Those workers, if that continues, we're going to see those workers come here. Like I said, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10,000 people left Prince George to go to Alberta. We'll take them back and more if we need them. It's pretty exciting, and so I'm hoping that we'll see that. Just this week, we got a phone call from a company looking for work. We didn't recognize the name. They said, "Oh, we got a 4-man crew. We'll be ready to work." Excellent. And so we had to kind of do some homework to find out who these folks were. It's a small town. We all know the trades, right? So we did some digging, and they're from Airdrie, Alberta. They're coming here looking for work.
Yeah.
They don't know that there's only 29 permits, at the end of May, but there's so much multifamily right now that it's busy, and people can get work for sure right now. Yeah.
Awesome. And one last question here before we go to the comment section. Relative to other places in the province, how's Prince George when it comes to building homes? Expensive, cheaper? What's kind of the...
Yeah, I mean, the main driving cost difference between the communities for sure is land costs. So I pulled some numbers just today, just quickly to look and see where land was, because it seems to always people like, oh my God, it's getting to be $200,000 for a lot in Prince George. A whole subdivision in North Chaco, brand new one, just came out. Lots sold for $180,000. People think, oh my goodness, that's crazy. A lot in Langley is $750,000.
Oh.
A lot in Chilliwack is $350,000.
Oh my goodness.
Our average lot price of lots currently listed today in Prince George the average is $150,000. So you're not going to see much under 100, I can tell you that. But that's kind of the midpoint now is about 150 in Prince George. So relative to every other community, essentially, even Kamloops, they were in I saw some for $299, it's around 200, so they're still a little higher. So that's the main difference. One thing that eats up that difference a little bit for us has traditionally been labor. Prince George has been known to have the highest per capita income per family, family income in the province. That's still reasonably true. But the fact is the rest of the province is booming for building. So the trades across the province are in short supply. I talked to builders from all over with my provincial association connections, and they're scrambling across the province. It's, framers were going to be really, really hurting for framers. It's not as sexy as becoming an electrician, I think. It's hard work. And so, framers, for example, are going to be really in short supply, but that's a concern. It's going to be an ongoing issue, but it's not just us, it's literally everywhere. So that has leveled the playing field in terms of labor costs for Prince George versus other communities. So yeah, it's the land costs that are really is driving that.
All right, so a question from the comment section here from Rob: is net zero solar primarily or also wind?
Right now, they're actually not saying. It's renewable.
Oh, so whatever is renewable.
Well, technically, in the province of BC, our dam system is renewable. So other provinces are actually going to have a heck of a time meeting the renewable component without getting into wind farming and solar farming potentially. I think there's a First Nation even in BC that has a solar farm. I think you're going to see some really cool stuff happening. Geothermal is another renewable. Yep. So no, it's not just solar. Solar is what people think of a lot. It's still one of the more expensive things. Wind is renewable. It may just not be as efficient. I think that's going to be the challenge for wind.
Okay. Well, we don't have any more questions from the comment section here, so I'm going to do another quick plug. Just please visit all of our social media accounts: Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. Hit them all up, and let's get some more people involved with the BCRC. Last question: how does the company get involved with your organization?
We're, like I said, membership driven, so we have a fee You pay your membership fee. We call Terry McConaughey at the Canadian Home Builders Association office here in Prince George, and she'll hook you up. And we have, our members are mostly like we try to get together and we have our home show, and we're always trying to mix things up a little bit in the community and what we're doing and get out there. But Terry is our best resource. She's amazing and hardworking lady. So
Well,
she'll get you hooked up.
well,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I think that's a good place to end it. So for Jody Tindill, the president of Canadian Home Builders Association, Northern BC, my name is Clint Chappell, and this has been the BCRC show. See you guys next week.